Hello, trainers. Not a podcast, but we're here in front of the computer. Maybe talking about Scroll Cup, Great League Edition. Maybe there might be an Ultra League Edition. During our podcast earlier today in our upload, we were talking about Scroll Cup, and I guess it's going to be the better time to upload it just to give a little bit of breathing space until tomorrow, so people have time to figure things out. Scroll Cup Great League Edition, first time in the season. We are getting 1500 CP Great League Edition with water fighting and dark type Pokemon only that are eligible. Banning Prima. Yes! No Prima, baby! Let's go! The thing is with a core brick and a lot of stuff, which I'm glad that we don't have to worry about it. Morpeko, where are you going? But, yeah. Diving into Scroll Cup, just taking a quick look here on PV Poke ranking. Mind you, this is a new cup. We're seeing Toxapex on the top with Sableye, Morpeko, Gastrodon, Mandy, Sableye, Annihilape, Chestnut, Azu, Guzzlord, Gallade, Annihilape, Lantern, Rutro, which I can kind of see that being a thing in this cup. Homo, Quagsire, Shadow, Jellicent, Malamar, Skuntank, Wishcash, I think it's going to be pretty strong too. Spiritomb, but Choke, Primate, both Shadows, Hakamo, Mantine, Wishcash once again, regular form, Drapion, and Gallade, and Metacham, and Razorleaf, Shiftry. It's going to be a hot mess in this meta. It's going to be like Willpower Cup in the sense that people are going to probably utilize a certain team from the online social media stuff, and then it's just going to keep on rotating. Like once people start picking up what's a good team, they're going to find another team that's going to counter it. Got to move ahead along with this type of meta. It's only a limited amount of things that you can use, but there's going to be some D-Gen teams for sure. We're seeing one Razorleaf. I don't know if we're going to be seeing double grass, but yeah, Scada with leafage as well too. Walrein, which is going to be kind of interesting. Pangoro, I think, is going to be an interesting pick as well too. So I don't know. It's going to be all over the place more than anything. But just for starts, for speculations, I came up on my nifty little card here, taking notes of what things to probably see. I think more than anything, at least in the beginning of this meta, I'm going to presume that there's going to be like a lot of Morpeko countering Morpeko, and the name of the game is going to be like get shields down and just start knocking out, like kind of what I've been doing with Great League so far. So I don't know, like it might be that thing where if you get an energy lead and shield advantage and alignment, things are just going to get really crazy, like chaotic. I wrote down in the lead like Morpeko or Gastro for starts. A lot of Pokemon I think we might be able to see during the switch is going to be Gallade, Pangoro, Drapion, sometimes Morpeko because I have it in the back as a closer as well too. But if there's something that someone swaps into, Morpeko has an advantage and gets that ramp up on that attack with Aura Wheel, I think it's going to get pretty nasty. So I think the Morpeko and the Gastro is going to be a thing in the beginning, and then things are going to kind of switch up as it goes. But just to keep things in mind as it comes to coming up with teams, because like I said, I'm more or less big on cores, coming up with the Pokemon that's strong in the lead and then something to help balance it out in the safe swap or in the back. So if you're not going to have a good lead situation, then you got something to work with in terms of like building up on some energy, maybe flipping switch. It's just going to be one of those type of metas that, one of those type of cups that's going to be very interesting. So I have for teams Toxapex and Gastro. Because if you can't handle Morpeko, at least you got Gastrodon as a switch. They may want to have like that third answer in the back as well too. That could be that answer, which could be Drapion, ABA, Quagsire as well too. Throw that out there. If you have Gastro in the lead, then I would probably say Sableye would be pretty good as well too. Looking here in the back, things that Gastro are not going to be happy with as far as like Annihilapes, Chestnuts, Gallades, Mandibuzz, you're going to have a little bit more play with Sableye to some extent, at least for coverage more than anything. Again, for Morpeko in the lead, your worst of the worst situation is going to be Gastro, like I mentioned in Quagsire, which I would argue Air/Mandy would be a good core complementary Pokemon. Now, I think there's going to be a lot of Mandibuzz in this meta, most likely in the Switch, maybe in the lead, depending on how the meta plays out. So I think Mandibuzz is going to be very good Which to that like counter of Mandibuzz, it's gonna be like Willpower Cup. So we're gonna probably see quite a bit of Guzzlords. So that's you know in the back of my head. Sableye in the lead if we run that. Most things that we're not going to appreciate. I think Morpeko is gonna have play. Yes, Sableye loses to Gastro, but I think it's going to be a little bit of a sim hero. But if it plays out the way that it does through PV Poke and you slightly lose, you're going to get a little bit of energy lead either from Morpeko or from another Pokemon. And I think Morpeko will have more free reign in the back. Another one as well, too, because we've been loving Morpeko. Azu. I think Azu is going to counter Guzzlord like I just mentioned earlier. So things that Azu is not going to appreciate. Again, Morpeko. Come on, bud. Come on, you got to stay on here. I know I'm hitting you a little bit, but you got to stay on here, bud. Morpeko is not going to be appreciated. Jelly, Gastro, Toxapex, Chestnut. So I guess, again, you know, Morpeko is going to be that kind of an answer. You can throw in Mandy as well, too. Gastro. Sounds about right. And even Guzzlord. So things to consider with Azu. Another one with Toxapex. I'm kind of jumping back and forth again. Like I got my notes here, just reading it through. Toxapex and Mandy. It's going to be pretty interesting, though. You're going to have an answer for Morpeko. If you don't have an answer for Morpeko, it's going to be a little bit troublesome. Troublesome. Guzzlord. For some reason, I paired it with Gallade. So things that Guzzlord's not going to appreciate. Annihilate, Toxapex, Gastro. Gallade's going to have a pretty good answer. And you can probably throw something in the back afterwards that's pretty spam. It could be a good closer, which we'll talk about in a little bit here. Another pick that I think would be kind of interesting to run is going to be Annihilate. And I think those two picks that are going to be complementary to it, it's going to be Guzzlord and Quagsire. Because Azu is not going to like Jelly, Sableye, and Gallade, and Mandy. So I think like some of the situations where it's going to be a close loss to those picks, I think you can pick those up with a good energy lead with Quagsire. Even maybe Guzzlord as well too, depending on what you lose up against that situation. So again, I think an energy lead in this cup is going to flip a lot of games. So it's going to be one of those things that either you're going to really fight for switch and get that alignment, or you want to utilize a Pokemon that with an energy lead, hence like Morpeko, Gallade, or a few other Pokemon like Annihilate or Pangoro, then you're going to get a pretty good jump start on. They're either going to be back in the lead or in the closer for the action. So keep that in mind. Another one I think is going to be an interesting pick. I don't think it's really top on the list. Malamar is going to be pretty interesting because if you see a lot of fighting types in Gallade, Malamar is going to have that pacing that's going to work out pretty well. Again, it's not going to appreciate Morpeko and Gastro, so I'm thinking and even Toxapex is a close loss to a Toxapex or even a Sableye, in my opinion. So I'm thinking Quagsire and Malamar might be an interesting pick, you know, with the Aqua Tail or Mud Bomb with Stone Edge, so you have the coverage against flying types. And once again, having those closers, we're going to be pretty interesting. Echo does not like me today. Keep hitting it. Sorry, bud. Switching here to closers. Morpeko, Sableye, Chestnut, Toxic closer. I guess if shields are down, but yeah, maybe if shields are down, depending on the strat. Gallade's going to be a very good closer. Close combat on a Shadow is going to hit pretty hard. Azu's going to be pretty good too, being as bulky as it is. Moltres would probably be pretty good with the Brave Bird. Not going to be good against the water types. So if you get rid of the water types in the safe swap, then I guess maybe Moltres is going to be pretty good in the back. Again, Shadow Quagsire. You get a pretty good energy lead. I think you can flip a lot of matchups in the switch and as in on the close. So Gastro, Lantern's going to be pretty interesting. A lot of top meta there. Kind of see that. So yeah. Munt. Saying that right? Close combat and wild charge. Interesting. Something to probably look into. Probably a very squishy Pokemon, but I think it's going to have, yeah, it's going to be very squishy. Thunder Punch, Wild Charge, Spark. Interesting as a closer. Wish Cash, I can see people use Blizzard for a surprise factor. I don't know. Maybe. But yeah, I think those are going to be like a quick rundown of what to expect for Scroll Cup. Again, I think it's going to be very heavy with Toxapex, Mandibuzz, Morpeko, Gastro, And once the meta starts picking up and flipping around, switching around to accommodate those Pokemon, then I think we're going to start seeing a shift in the meta, which maybe in a couple days I'll come up with a new analysis of team and cores that would probably respond to those things that we're going to experiment around. There we go. Quick overview of Scroll Cup. I think it's going to be fun. It's going to be really, really fun. Another narrow type of meta that's going to probably have some flexibility. It's going to be alignment based. It's going to be energy management based and shield advantage. I know it sounds a little too cliche, but it's really going to be down to energy management, shield advantage opinion. So that is it. I'll see y'all in another video. Might be a podcast. It might be this. Who knows? If I have time, I might record like this. So I'll see y'all later. Bye. Ciao.